Hi, I guess you all know what that is. That's the original Game Boy from 1989. And today we're gonna try to turn this into that. I think this is gonna be fairly easy. There's buttons, there's a shape, there's some details, and my idea is just to reshuffle that in CAD, 3D print it, and come up with at least a mock-up to start with. And then maybe there's going to be a part 2 where we're going to turn it into an actual keyboard, and I haven't really looked at any possibilities how to do that yet. If I'm just going to buy some off-the-shelf keyboard and tear its guts out and do a surgery, so to say, or if I'm gonna do like fully custom with whatever click switches or however it's called. I'm not 100% familiar with all the keyboard terminology, and we'll see how it goes, and I'll take you along for the ride. This time it's not going to be finished product and I'm going to talk about it, but this time it's going to be, you're going to be part of the action, see the mistakes and the struggle and frustrations that might come along with it. I don't know, I have no idea how it's going to go, but I'm fairly confident that this can become a really good looking keyboard. And I'm also fairly confident that the first version of this keyboard is not going to be a good keyboard for typing, but it's going to look really cool. Let's look at some details here. What we're going to focus on most is the buttons and also the labels, which are not on the buttons, they are with the normal keyboard. So I want to replicate that. Not sure how I feel about this dish that they're sitting in. We'll see. That's going to be one feature maybe, or maybe I'll leave that out. Anyway, there's these lines that kind of separate the shape up here. I might use that to be able to split up the shape into smaller bits for 3D printing. I was also thinking if I should put like the D-pad on there instead of the arrow keys. Put a D-pad there. We'll see if that makes sense. Maybe we'll do it for the first iteration to make it look as cool as possible. Not sure if I want to put a numpad there. Maybe that can be a separate piece, like almost like a calculator. And what I do want to put on there is these ribs that I don't know if they were meant to be for grip or if they were supposed to look like fake vents because it has so much computing power. Or I don't know, they look cool, and they look even cooler painted, and the paint is rubbed off on the top layer here. Well, anyway, that's the details for now. Let's try this. So here we are in Affinity Publisher. This is an Adobe free household because I don't agree with their subscription pricing model. And what you see here is my first quick sketch of a Game Boy keyboard when I first came up with the idea. You can see here, as I mentioned before, the D-pad as arrow keys. And this still has a numpad, but well, that was just spirit of the moment type thing, you know. And you can see here already has the Game Boy font written as keyboard. And yeah, we'll see how the button layout is gonna work. I downloaded a standard layout from Wikipedia that was really helpful, or will be helpful, I think. And what I think will be really cool is that the buttons, or the keycaps as the pros call it, are not going to have any print on there. And that might be very unuser friendly, I don't know, but it's going to look really cool when the letters and numbers will be printed right next to the keys. So we'll see. Let's jump to the next page here. So I want to like build a bridge between these old clunky keyboards like the original IBM or like a Commodore 64. Those were kind of, what's the word, state-of-the-art keyboards when the Game Boy was new. And I thought Logitech, they have a few keyboards with round buttons already. Maybe, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, that might be a good contestant for ripping its guts out and replacing the shell with Game Boy styled components, but we'll see. So that's the bridge that we're gonna make here. I don't want it to look as clunky as these, but I also don't want them to be as super sleek as this. So we'll see. That's kind of the, I don't really want to call it a design brief, but that's kind of the overarching idea. And here is the keyboard layout, as I mentioned. Let's start. I think this first draft already looks pretty cool. Regarding fonts, I'm using Eurostyle for the keycaps labels, and the keyboard label I'm using Futura. Both of them are not correct, but we'll find out what the correct font is and apply that. I came across this website, which is really awesome, Fonts in Use, which, well, you guessed it, shows fonts in use. And thanks to Antonia Taylor, thanks Antonia, I can find out what fonts were used on the Game Boy. And I thought the actual Game Boy name here was Futura, but it's not. It's Gill Sans. And the buttons, well, I never heard of that font, but it's corporate, or rather, font is called Limited. We'll see that in a second here. Yeah, that was really helpful. So thanks, Antonia. And also thanks to, wait, here's a comment. Thanks to Patrick, who showed that there's a slight difference between corporate and limited. You can see it jumping around here. And he further illustrated the application on the NES controller and here on the Game Boy. Corporate is a bit more roundish and the limited is a bit more squarey and a bit shorter. Well, that's really minor details in an application that's that small anyway. But we're gonna go with the limited and apply that to our keyboard. And you can see here another comparison between the two. What's even cooler is Stephen Cole's Flickr here, where he has a font booklet with applications from Alphabet Innovations, who launched the so-called corporate font. This looks really cool, I think. There are some more awesome fonts. Look at this here, Sledgehammer. Let me enlarge that. This is really nice. And also the new Didoni, also pretty cool. This is all from the 70s, obviously. And look at this, the Sledgehammer might be my favorite, but also the Jolly Roger. I mean, this is the perfect, like, is this almost the Hot Wheels font? I don't know. Oh, it is Timbre, or how do you pronounce it? Timbre Avenue? Anyway, all of these look pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, they're retro or vintage, tomato. So yeah, I thought this was interesting side note here. And let's get back to Affinity here and apply our knowledge. We'll turn this into Gill Sans, italic. Yeah, nice, that looks great. And we're gonna turn it to keyboard, like Game Boy, that looks nice. And what was it called? Corporate font? Or no, it was the limited. Wow, that looks awesome. That looks so great. That's really the detail that makes it cool. Really, really cool. Okay, this one says enter, which means duck in German. It should say enter, in case you wanted to learn some German while you're here. Yeah, and well, while we're here, let's make this a little more three-dimensional, even though we're in 2D land here. Looks great, I think. So I was thinking about the arrow keys and the numpad. For the mock-up, that's not going to be functional. Maybe let's just do it. And also, maybe I'll get rid of the numpad. I'm not sure. But I mean, it's easy here. I will just grab this one, unlock it. And hey, that also looks pretty cool, huh? So I've been looking at the dimensions of this Logitech keyboard, and well, it kind of, I'm wondering if I should use this as a stencil here, or if I'm getting ahead of myself. But well, I mean, I already have the Illustrator-ish file. I will just copy this page and try it, and you can watch me do it. yes, this is pretty cool. That's how we're gonna do it. Oh yeah, they're way too big, right? That's a way better proportion. Oh, that's awesome. I'm loving it. I hope you love it too. And if not, well, then you can just design your own. All right. Let me delete these. Make this into a group. Move over here. And done. So before going all in on the cat model, I thought I'll try how these fonts work out in 3D printing. And you see the respective numbers. That's the height in millimeter. And I built this one first for some quick tests, and then I also have a more advanced one that I printed as a third test. So here you can see the second test piece in the slicer, and let me show you the preview here. This is going to look so much better, you're going to see in a second, because we have 2 lines for every letter, because it has a 0.2 millimeter nozzle installed now, and that really works well. So here you see the last print that I did. Even though it says 2.5 millimeter, this is only 2 millimeter height for the font here. And I think this looks amazing. I'm not sure about this is like a comma and a full stop and other exclamation points and whatever. And also the A and B, when you know what it is, it's there. But maybe we'll go up to 2.5 again. But the keyboard size, that's actually the same size as on the original Game Boy now. So I'm really happy with that state, and I think we're just gonna leave it at that for this week. And I will make a 3D model of this that will house a Logitech wireless keyboard, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching. Let me introduce you to veark, the sponsor of today's video. Based in Copenhagen, veark is a contemporary kitchenware company dedicated to developing honest and high-quality tools for everyday use. Follow the link in the description or go to veark.com and sign up for the newsletter to get 10% off your first order.